Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel and talk about bullish. I mean, if this happens, unquestionably, I'm going to have to go back to calling myself Moon Lambo. Look at the headline from FX Street. XRP price could reach $30 if Ripple wins SEC lawsuit, hedge fund manager says. And I'm not familiar with the particular hedge fund manager that's cited in this article, but still, if there's a hedge fund manager that is going to say stuff like this publicly, yeah, my ears perk up and I'm going to be looking into it. And it's fascinating. And as far as the rationale for what he's stating here, it's actually completely sound. I just don't pretend to know if, that the price range he's talking about is realistic or not, because when you're talking about XRP hitting a new all-time high, like stuff like that, like those kinds of runs, they have never happened without Bitcoin leading the way. So if he's right, if it's that big a deal for the crypto space, and hey, maybe he is right. I don't know for sure. I don't pretend to know. Maybe it still happens anyway. But my gosh, $30. I'll tell you what. By the time XRP hits $30, if I were to not sell any, if it were to hit $30, I would have more money than God at that point. So now the truth is, though, I would be heavily unloading, probably more in like the $5 to $7 range, which I know a lot of you listening, you might be rolling your eyes and be like, that's too low. Well, hold on, no. Different strokes for different folks, my friends. I invested way more money in XRP than most people ever will, and I did that early on so that I could exit sooner. Whereas if I put in less, I'd have to hold longer to get to the target that I want. So it's a strategic thing. And it does mean that I could be leaving money on the table, but I don't care because I'll still be hitting the target that I want to hit for myself. So anyway, before going further, though, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And by the way, as far as the timeline for this, he ends up citing, I'm going to go through the article, and he cites that it may happen within the next few months, but that's because he's talking about the conclusion of the SEC v. Ripple case. I put out another video tonight, though, and you should check it out if you haven't yet, because an ex-SEC director who's an attorney, he believes, and by the way, he's against Ripple, he thinks that we're going to have finality in that case within days, literally. You should check that out. It's interesting. But let's go ahead and dig into this, though. So again, the headline here from FX Street, XRP price could reach $30 if Ripple wins SEC lawsuit, hedge fund manager says. Speculation surrounding the release of the Hinman documents could push XRP price up to $30 in the short term, Kralo Capital founder and manager Thomas Kralo says in an interview, few months ahead of a key ruling which is set to determine whether Ripple's token is a security or not. And so that's not quite precise enough. And if you look at the charges, it's not quite what's being decided, not technically, although judges can do whatever they want. That's not... If you look at the accusations that the SEC has put against Ripple and Brad and Chris, that's not how it's worded. And in terms of it being a few months, that's speculation. Like I just said, a former SEC guy just said that it's going to be over within the next few days. That's what he believes. He's speculating, but he believes that to be the case. Anyway, piece continues. The release of Hinman documents on Tuesday, a key element in the legal battle between the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission and Ripple, as well as the reaction of the company's legal team, has fueled speculation among XRP holders. Moreover, some of the altcoin's on-chain indicators show that XRP is undervalued at the current price of 48 cents at the time of writing. Let me go down a little bit further here. So XRP price is largely influenced by the SEC lawsuit against payment giant Ripple. The XRP holder community therefore closely watches the updates to determine the direction in which the altcoin is headed. Yeah, so that's obviously completely fair. I think that the price of XRP is artificially suppressed. I think that if not for the SEC, we would have seen a new all-time high in 2021 because XRP is the only top 10 crypto that didn't hit a new all-time high, and it just happens to be getting attacked by the SEC. No, I think we would have seen that, and I think right now it's artificially suppressed. And so once this concludes, if it's positive, even if Ripple technically loses, as long as there's positive news for XRP itself, I agree with the concept that XRP would just rocket then. And I can't know, and I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and XRP just craters in price. I just don't think it's, at least as long as we get positive news, it's hard to imagine that happening, don't you think? And then he also wrote here, oh yeah, down here. Thomas Kralow, crypto hedge fund manager at Kralow Capital, said to FX Street that these factors could fuel further speculation, driving XRP price higher within the next 3 to 4 months. Kralow weighed in on the rising interest among crypto market participants based on data from Google Trends. Searches for XRP have doubled in the last month, signaling an increase in interest among traders worldwide. Yeah, and I love metrics like that. The search is doubling for XRP over the span of a month. That's notable, and it goes hand in hand with this increase in new XRP accounts over much of the last couple weeks or so. I love the on-chain metrics because they're very telling here, but there's definitely an increase in interest, and even if you can look at price too, obviously. So there we saw that surge in March after the ruling from Judge Torres having to do with the expert witnesses, and then after the news that the Hinman documents were going to come out. I guess it was, what was that, a month and a half ago? I think it was the beginning part of May, if memory serves anyway. Could be a little off on that. But anyway, whenever it happened, the price of XRP just started climbing on up. These are viewed as bullish and positive things regarding XRP, and for good reason. And so here's a quote from Kralow, the founder of this hedge fund. He said, quote, "Currently, we observe huge speculative narratives around Ripple, which could potentially lead to a significant price increase for XRP in the next 3 to 4 months, pushing its value to anywhere between $10 and $30, end quote. Okay, that's bullish. I don't mind some bullishness there. I mean, I'm a little bit skeptical on the higher end of that, and I'm kind of wondering, is XRP really going to hit a new all-time high without Bitcoin running? Or when this happens, will Bitcoin be running and it'll just be the perfect storm? I guess that's possible too. But man, I would absolutely love to see. That's going to change so many people's lives if that happens. It's a question mark, but if that happens. And then as far as him citing 3 to 4 months, I think that he was just kind of speculating that that's when the lawsuit would end. But I don't think it's going to be 3 to 4 months. I mean, even a couple weeks ago, Brad Garlinghouse was saying, yeah, we're talking about weeks, not months. And then you have that, like I said, you should check out the video because the rationale is interesting and the discussion on it. But that former SEC guy saying, yeah, probably within days. Anyway, then there was this. Over the past 30 days, XRP price climbed 15.32% from 41 cents to 48 cents on Binance. Data from Google Trends reveals further potential for market activity, Kralow says, setting a bullish target of $30 per token within the next 3 to 4 months. Yeah, well, again, way sooner than that. If he's right, it'll happen way sooner than that if the case ends when the former SEC guy thinks it's going to end. The manager and founder of Kralow Capital identified 2 factors that could make or break XRP's rally within the next few months. And the other one, by the way, is Ripple's IPO, which I don't have any inside information, of course. I'm not pretending to know it could happen, but I do understand that it literally could happen this year. Don't forget that Ripple went on what is known as a little road show. That news was broken by Fox Business Journal's Eleanor Turret recently. We found out that it happened, I guess it might have started in April. But they're basically, courting major potential investors, when it comes to this stuff here. That's a strong indicator that, something's going to be happening here. So they have, I don't know I would love to know the internal thinking on this. But, you got one shot at something like that, and they've already done it. They shot their load. That's it. So either it's going to happen and it's going to go well, or good luck, because it's going to be pretty difficult. And then, of course, the other factor, which I already talked about, that he cites here is just, if Ripple defeats the SEC. Although I still will posit the idea that I don't think that Ripple even has to win. Even if they get a technical loss, as long as there's a path forward for XRP, that's what I believe market participants are actually going to care about. And I could be wrong. I'm just speculating here like anybody else. But to me, that just makes rational sense. If XRP is going to be safe in the United States and Ripple gets a technical loss, why the hell does the average XRP holder care? Not that they want something bad to happen to Ripple. I mean, I like Ripple, and I think most people do that are XRP holders. But what's it matter ultimately on a personal level? I mean, the answer is it doesn't. So I'm just saying. So we'll see what happens here, but the idea of that happening would be rather exciting. I also wanted to mention this. There is an article from Cointelegraph where chart analyst Rakesh Upadhyay wrote some stuff, and I want to share just the top part because it has to do with something that I covered fairly in depth yesterday in one of my videos. Some of the biggest news breaking yesterday was that BlackRock is going to file, or has filed for rather, a spot Bitcoin ETF. That's monstrous. And I don't want to repeat all of what I covered in my video yesterday, but there are a few additional things I wanted to state here. And so Rakesh Upadhyay wrote the following here for Cointelegraph. Bitcoin is witnessing a tough battle between buyers and sellers near the $25,000 mark. A minor cause of worry for the bulls is that even the news of BlackRock having filed an application for a Bitcoin spot exchange-traded fund could not boost prices higher. This suggests that investors remain cautious due to the regulatory overhang. Okay, so I will pause to note here, and he wrote this came up 5 hours ago. It says, at the time that I'm recording this, Bitcoin is $26,371. So it actually has been climbing a little bit since then. It's up 3.23% over the last 24 hours. Just thought I'd mention it. And then he writes, however, this does not mean that professional investors have abandoned plans to invest in cryptocurrencies. The Laser Digital Investor Survey of institutional investors conducted in April shows that 90% of the respondents were ready to consider putting money into crypto if the asset was backed by a large traditional financial institution. How about that? That's crazy, right? Look at the timing of all this. Another positive was that 82% of the investors polled were positive on crypto's prospects over the next 12 months. So look, I just wanted to point out, we're probably going to get good news as it pertains to XRP specifically in the SEC v. Ripple case. We might not, in which case the battle continues, and then we'll just have a sad day, and price will probably plummet. That would be my guess anyway. But I'm optimistic. We're probably going to get good news there. You see BlackRock jumping in, and even if you think that company's the devil, and fair enough, I'm not going to get into that in this video, but even if you think so, the amount of attention and money that will flow into crypto as a result of this ultimately, I mean, it's hard to overstate how consequential this is. They're the largest asset manager literally on the planet. And as of, I think it was last quarter, I'm pulling from memory as of yesterday, but I covered it at the time. I think it was something like 9.5 trillion in assets under management last quarter. It was something like, it's something completely absurd. So that's big. And I would not be surprised if they get approved. And I actually meant to share a couple tweets yesterday, so I just thought I'd tag them on in this video having to do with BlackRock. There was this from analyst Will Clemente. He said, if BlackRock's spot ETF application gets approved, it is undeniable that Operation Chokepoint 2.0 was orchestrated to drive out crypto-native companies and bring in large traditional firms that are buddy-buddy with the U.S. government to try and control Bitcoin/crypto. Yep. I think that's correct. I would not be surprised if this happens. That would be my guess, that BlackRock would get approved for this. We'll see what happens. It's just my for fun guess. And Attorney Deaton's been speaking out about this literally for a couple years. Literally for a couple years. It's to protect the incumbents. And that is what's happening here. And so you can look at Grayscale, which pioneered the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and they've been trying to convert that into an ETF. And the SEC just keeps denying them. Finally, Grayscale sued the SEC and pushing back, and we'll see what happens with that. And so now, at this particular juncture in time, you see BlackRock coming in. It's interesting. And by the way, I want to point out this as well. Will Clemente showed this as well. I shared this as well. Look at this headline, and this is from 2017, 6 years ago, from CNBC. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink calls Bitcoin an index of money laundering. You gotta love this stuff. You gotta love this stuff. They hate it until they love it. Then they find a way to get in and make money. And it's eventually all of them are going to become believers, because XRP and crypto, it's not going away. Certainly crypto's not going away. I'm more sure of that than any individual coin, even XRP. It's not going away. And so they get it. Finally, they're a little bit later than the party than they needed to be, but they're here now. And so there's also this analysis from Nick Carter, who's pretty well known in the world of crypto. He hates XRP because he's irrational on that front. But I'm just teasing a little. But yeah, he does not like XRP, but he's right about this. Look at this. I think it's an interesting perspective anyway. He wrote, having no special insight into the situation, here's how I'm interpreting the BlackRock ETF filing. SEC is under significant pressure given recent assaults on the industry and wants to give the industry a perceived win to take the political heat off, and is doing that by letting the grown-ups, aka traditional finance, in, now that crypto-native firms have been defanged with various enforcement actions, or SEC guided BlackRock to get in line expecting an adverse outcome in the GBTC case. That would be the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust case. And so well, BlackRock, if you're going to do this, maybe start moving on it right now. Would not be surprised, because those connections absolutely exist. So I think that's pretty reasonable speculation, actually. But look, whatever you think of BlackRock, all I'm saying is this, like, we already had the bottom of the market unless there's a wild card event. It happened in November. We're getting conclusion with the SEC v. Ripple case. BlackRock's jumping in, and we're obviously heading upwards in a general sense, even though there's been a brief malaise over the last, call it several days, whatever it's been, and there's been some negative price action, especially with legal happenings, so on and so forth. But we're still going to continue to trend to the upside. I firmly believe that, anyway. So we'll see what happens. It's really genuinely a very exciting time to be in crypto. And I don't make price predictions. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm very optimistic for the future. I'll just say that. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy yourself anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, family sedan.